Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. So, I know that this is a very spontaneous live stream and one that I was definitely not planning on doing tonight. Today has been a little bit of a heavier day. I've been picking up on a lot of very challenging emotions processing through for the collective. So, I wanted to come on with this live to support any of you who might be here listening. So I am really hoping that we can channel into some of what could be happening in the collective plane right now that could be creating some of this heaviness. And really, it's my goal through this reading that if you find this, you will feel less alone. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on my meditation music because I forgot I actually turned it off for a second. So I am beginning to look at our live chat. Thank you so much for all of your messages coming through. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to join just because I know that this is a really spontaneous live. So I know that this reading won't be for everyone, but for whoever this is for, I want to talk about some of these heavy emotions coming through and why they could be happening. And there are many layers to this, I would say, collectively and also personally and on an individual level. So I would say the first layer and the first message to come up, which, by the way, this is going to be meant to be a channeled reading from your guides, your higher self, your ancestors. So we're going to be channeling messages from the divine that will hopefully guide you or provide you with some amount of comfort. So, the first layer to all of this is that there is such a massive shift taking place within us. And we've reached this point where our old way of operating, our old way of doing things, our old way of existing is no longer working. And so, one thing that you might be feeling is things that you used to do to maybe stabilize yourself or to even like get a certain result, maybe like with your work or with different areas of your life or whatever the case is. Maybe even things related to like your body, like your fitness routines or eating habits or whatever. I've been getting the sense that old ways of doing things often feel resistant or feel as though they aren't working in the same way. And yet, the entire time, it's as though we're feeling this higher energy that is guiding us into a higher template. And so, essentially, a lot of, well, I should say the first layer, because there are a lot of layers to unpack here when it comes to this heavy energy. But the first layer of this heavy energy is that we are shifting and ascending to an actually much higher level of vibration and a finer frequency, like a more delicate frequency, if you will, that is actually more potent, that's actually more powerful. But in the moment, it can be scary because it feels brand new. It feels like we're trying to work from a completely new template that we essentially don't really fully understand yet at a conscious level, that we aren't really completely familiar with. So I would say that is the first layer. And all the while, you're feeling this higher energy calling you up to new ways of doing things, to new systems, to maybe new inspired ideas. But the thing about these new ways of doing things and this higher template is that it cannot be controlled the way the old template could be controlled. So we really don't have control over the timelines, over the details, over exactly when or how things are going to happen. Now, personally, what I kept feeling, especially around New Year's, and I think it's because a lot of people do New Year's resolutions. So I think that's sort of on the forefront of everyone's mind in a way. But what I kept feeling is that tension between wanting to set goals and set intentions for the new year, because I will often do that for New Year's. I know many of you probably often do that as well, like the tension between wanting to do that, but also feeling as though that felt really heavy and resistant, like realizing that I'm just meant to be flowing with the energy in a different way. Let me know in the comments if you guys have been experiencing this, because I feel like there's been a collective tension even around this new year and the concept of New Year's resolutions or goal setting, because so many of us are sensing that we're meant to be tapping into this higher template and a higher energy where we aren't necessarily meant to be as involved in all of the specifics of exactly how things need to work or when they need to occur or anything like that. And so I feel that part of this tension is like we know that this is like a fresh start in a new year, and we can feel the potential of those higher timelines that are calling to us. And there's so many things that we want to do and accomplish and be in this world. And by the way, all of those visions you have for yourself are real. That is you sensing into not just a like potential timeline, but a timeline that in essence literally exists that you're going to be tapping into. However, it's almost like the tension between that and where we are now and not being sure how to bridge that gap, and also not being able to use the old systems or paradigms to bridge that gap, can feel really overwhelming. So, yeah, there's definitely something collective in the air going on as well. I noticed this when I was out and about today. I'm curious if some of you noticed this when you were potentially in public spaces or out and about and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and be shuffling some cards here. And this reading probably won't be as long as some of my other lives. You guys know I came on with a couple live streams that were pretty long, but I do want to see what I can pick up on here. Okay, so what can I channel for the beautiful soul tuning into this reading? Broken heart in the reverse position. So I felt this very deep heart healing happening within so much of the collective. And I feel that you may, or for a specific person listening, you may be feeling as though times in the past where you felt really heartbroken or really lost in your life or really abandoned or misunderstood could actually be coming to the surface in a stronger way right now. Even times of your life that you've moved beyond or you've healed beyond may still be surfacing for you right now, almost like old heartbreaks coming back up. But these heartbreaks don't have to be romantic. They could be literally just life heartbreak situations in your life that were really difficult for you. And so I feel as though there's this deep heart healing taking place within you, but a lot of this is happening very automatically and very subconsciously. So you may not really be consciously aware of what's going on as it's happening. It can be very confusing when you suddenly feel these heavy emotions surfacing out of nowhere. I'm also getting with the patience card that there's a message here about being patient with yourself and being patient with the process that's taking place within you, because there is this gradual shift and transformation happening within automatically. And a message of guidance that I'm getting from someone's spirit guides or a higher self is to really give yourself the time, the space, the rest, the nourishment that you need right now, whatever you're feeling called to, whatever that looks like for you. So I'm going to see if I can channel anything else here. Yeah, someone may be having this feeling of it's almost as though your mind is telling you that you're regressing, or your mind is questioning whether you've really healed or grown as much as you think that you have. But of course, you have healed and grown, and you've come so far. A major thing I keep getting is that you aren't giving yourself enough credit here. And so, if no one else tells you this today, I hope you know to give yourself more credit for this journey that you've been on, because I am definitely speaking to a collective that has seen a lot of hardship in their life and lived a very difficult life in many ways. But I'm hearing it's so beautiful because in spite of everything you've gone through, somehow it doesn't show on your energy. That's like what someone's guides are saying, that like somehow you still have this lightness and this kind of like carefree, almost playful nature about you that's very open. And I feel almost as though people may sometimes comment on this. Like they may say that you seem so open or lighthearted, or in fact, people may even at times misjudge you as being naive. You are the opposite of naive. You're very wise to the world and you've been through a lot in your life. You're very clear on what is going on in the world, what you're very clear on darkness in a way. Like you've been through a lot of darkness in your life. And yet, because of that, you have this ability to hold the light in a more profound way. It's like, ironically, because of your familiarity with darkness, you're able to hold the light in a stronger way. And this is kind of reminding me of a reading that I did a while ago where I said that your energy had left a footprint or like an impression on a place that had rejected you or left you behind, or like you had had to leave it behind. Now, this could be like a family system, a friend group, a workplace, any kind of environment, a belief system. I don't know what this is for you, maybe a geographical location, but I feel that for a certain collective, there is some place that you left behind or some group that you left behind. And you thought that when you left without having made your mark, without really having made any kind of impression. I'm getting that if this was a group of people or a person, this would have been a person or a group that you were very close to. And in a way, even though you were the one that had to walk away, you felt very rejected or abandoned by whatever this group was, almost like you'd been thrown out because your light was too bright or your frequency was too loud. And there was such a sense of pain and rejection from that and a loss of community that went along with that. But what I'm getting is that your energy is still being felt in that space. And part of this heaviness that you could be feeling, which by the way, I guess I should kind of preface this by saying that I'm going to be channeling into a lot of different people and dynamics. So I'm going to be talking about different reasons that you could personally be feeling this heaviness. Take it however it connects for you. Some of these threads may resonate, some of them might be for someone else. But getting back to this specific thread of energy with like this group or this community, I strongly feel as though part of why you would be feeling this heaviness is because that group or that person is actually now awakening. And as they're awakening, I'm hearing they're thinking of the awakened one that they interacted with, which is you. It's like you were someone who was very spiritually awake, who left a mark on them and who left a mark in that place. And your mark was not forgotten, even though it may have seemed that it was, even though you may have had to walk away out of necessity. I feel that you had to walk away or abandon whatever that timeline was in a way to protect yourself. Now, oh, thank you so much, BB Electro Tarot, for saying thank you for shining so bright and leading the way consistently. Thank you for your really kind donation. So, as I was talking about you abandoning a timeline, I got a message for someone who walked away from some kind of love connection. I may actually even see if I can retitle this video. I don't know if I can, but I'm feeling like this is going to be a dominant theme of this video. There's some kind of love connection that I feel you had to walk away from, not because you wanted to, but out of necessity. Hold on, I'm redoing the title here. Okay, so what I'm retitling this video is you walked away from this twin flame slash soul love connection, and now it's coming back around because I am so strongly getting this message of someone who walked away from a very deep, very profound soul bond. And there's this sense of that connection resurfacing again, either within your mind or in your life. And I'm getting that for many of you, this is a connection that you never really thought would resurface in this way. This could be even someone that you hear from shortly after listening to this live stream. Some of you could actually be sensing that this person or this soul connection is actually about to reach out to you, and they've been feeling really heavy about you. And so you're kind of like feeling this impending energy where they may actually be reaching back out to you. So I don't know who this part of the reading is for, but my guides are kind of veering me in this direction because they're saying that this is going to resonate for a lot of people who are experiencing this heavy energy. It's so interesting to me in the channelings how sometimes, well, I should say most of the time, I have no idea where these channeling sessions are going to go. I mean, sometimes I will meditate and take notes prior to starting the channeling, but so often, like today, I will think that we're just talking about this heavy energy. And then suddenly, this like twin flame or soulmate or soul connection suddenly pops up from someone's past. So I love doing these readings. I have such a passion for this, and I'm so grateful for all of you who are part of our community here. And really, we are all co creators here. So I wanted to take a moment just to say thank you, but I do want to go deeper into this whole message that's coming up with this either twin flame or soulmate. So, this timeline, this, first of all, I have to just say, this is a very big message that's coming through here because for whoever I'm speaking to here, I feel the hardest thing you ever had to do was walk away from this person and from this timeline. And I'm hearing you had to walk away even knowing that there was so much love there because there was also so much pain there. And you knew that you couldn't stay with that person or on that specific timeline, at least with them, while at the same time loving yourself. And ultimately, you chose yourself. And again, I feel like this was the hardest thing that you've ever done. The thing about that timeline is it's still playing itself out. And so, with this timeline, although you've selected this, in a sense, a higher energy timeline, this self love timeline, where you're vibrating on this really high frequency, where you most likely are living out or pursuing some of your dreams or your passions or doing things that you love or whatever this is for you, while you're connecting with this higher timeline, the timeline that you left behind with this twin flame or soulmate is still playing itself out energetically, even though it's not happening physically. So, energetically, that timeline never stopped. It actually continued to progress. And so, every once in a while, I feel that it's almost like your current timeline and that timeline where you're still with that twin flame or soulmate start to sort of almost like come together, if that makes sense, or they run very parallel to each other in a way that almost crosses, that almost intersects. And so when you come into close proximity with this timeline, with that soulmate or twin flame from your past, where the two of you on that other timeline that isn't happening now. I know we're getting really quantum here, but I know a lot of you manifest these quantum messages from these readings too. So when you come into this close contact with that other timeline, the timeline that you're not living physically, but that's still playing itself out energetically, it causes you to feel this grief and this heaviness. And it may even cause you to question, did I choose the right timeline? Or did I make some kind of mistake? Should I have chosen differently here? And so there's a few messages coming through. If this part of the reading is for you, first of all, your guides want you to know that not only did you make the right choice, you made the only choice. What I'm getting is, ironically, by choosing to abandon that timeline with your twin flame or with your soulmate, you actually preserved the connection. I know this sounds really strange, but you literally preserved the potential timeline, the potential union timeline with this person by walking away from that actual like premature union timeline, by trying to force that union prematurely. Like if you had tried to force it prematurely with that soulmate or with that twin flame, that timeline actually would have hit a dead end and it wouldn't have been able to progress any further. I'm hearing it would have hit some point of no return. And I actually think that your soul knew that on some level. Like intuitively, you may have not verbalized it, you may have not consciously known it, but intuitively, you recognized on some level, hey, I need to walk away from this timeline or this person or this situation, because if I don't walk away from this now, I'm going to lose it forever. I know that sounds really backwards, but it was because of the circumstances. And I feel the intensity of the energy between the two of you when you were in physical proximity like that to each other. Some kind of distance had to be created in order for the both of you to process the way that you'd activated each other, and to then be able to preserve the potential to come back together on that union timeline at some point in the future. But I feel that every once in a while, you can feel your timeline coming close, coming into proximity with this other timeline that you abandoned, that is still preserved, is still playing itself out, but that you haven't fully accessed or tapped back into yet. And it may bring up a lot of feelings of loss or grief or uncertainty. But this isn't a sign that you chose the wrong path. Again, not only did you choose the correct path, you really chose the only path that would allow you to continue to progress and to continue to expand. So that is one message that wanted to come through here very strongly. I'm also picking up the energy of someone's twin flame or soulmate who is actually going through a very profound healing right now. And I'm hearing against all odds. So this would be a person that you may have never really expected to heal. Whoever this twin flame or soulmate is, you may have really believed that they were so wounded that, like, maybe they would never choose to heal themselves. I'm getting some of their emotional wounds ran really deep, probably all the way back to their childhood. And I feel that at some point you wondered if that healing would ever happen. But now that healing that you may have never expected within that twin flame or within that soulmate seems to actually be occurring within them. And so I feel that part of the heavy energy you may be sensing at this time is actually what they are processing through this healing that they're going through. So I want to know if I can channel anything more about what this twin flame or soulmate is healing. Yeah, their sense of identity and confidence. This feels like someone who was building in the wrong direction, so to speak, meaning not really in terms of wrong and right being something black and white, but more so that they were trying to build a life in a direction that was out of alignment with their soul, on like the wrong foundation, so to speak. And I feel like this is someone, this twin flame or soulmate, seem to get some kind of like an ego boost, like an artificial confidence hit. And I say artificial because it wasn't really true, like soul deep confidence. It was truly like an artificial hit of confidence that they would get from like material things or superficial things or like whatever direction they were building in, but it was never really sustainable. And what I'm getting is this is something major that's healing within this person. They are building confidence at this point in their true, authentic self in a completely different way. And I'm hearing when you re meet or reconnect with this person, in many ways, they're going to feel unrecognizable to you. You're going to feel as though they are a brand new person. I'm getting this song Brand New coming through here because that's how this person is going to seem to you when you're reintroduced to them or when they like re-enter your life in some kind of way. But I see them just going through a major shift in how they identify themselves in the world or how they like perceive or present themselves in the world. I also feel like this is putting them in a very vulnerable time in a way because their whole sense of value is shifting. Like the way that they used to derive value in the world is gone and it's completely changing now. But this is also expanding them. And I'm hearing they're catching up to you. So this may be a twin flame or a soulmate that you never ever imagined would really catch up to you where you are, but I feel them catching up now. I feel them catching up to your frequency because you've been the one who's had the courage here to actually hold the space for them to potentially catch up to you. I just keep getting that it was like very unexpected or it's very much against all of the odds here. This is someone who did not appreciate you properly in the past with the appreciation card in the reverse position. And I'm hearing something about the grass always being greener on the other side. Like maybe this is someone who had a wandering eye or was always like thinking that things would be better in a different situation, or always like looking for the next best thing, but never really fully expressing appreciation for you, like being there beside them. But what I'm getting is that I also heard something about roses for someone. I saw white roses in my mind's eye, but with the throat chakra in the reverse position, this is someone that you've either been out of communication with for a very long time with, or this would be someone that even when you do communicate with them, something about your communication has felt really strained lately. And it's been because you've actually been on very different frequencies for a while. So even if you've had some level of physical interaction or communication with this twin flame or with this soulmate, you still have most likely felt as though that communication is very complicated and very strained because you're literally at different frequency levels. And another thing about this new earth, in a way, that we are shifting into is that so much of our communication increasingly is going to be based on our frequency. It's going to be telepathic. You're going to notice more and more of those moments where you're just randomly thinking of someone and then suddenly they contact you, or you get the urge to contact them and then they tell you they had just been thinking about you. Like, those psychic moments are going to start becoming so normal to you that you're going to stop even really thinking of them as psychic in a conscious way, because tapping into your spiritual gifts is going to become so natural for you. But this is part of that readjustment that I was talking about at the beginning that could actually be bringing up some heavy energy at times, because the old way of doing things is no longer working. But look at you through this opening to more of your spiritual gifts than ever before, becoming more psychic, becoming more spiritually in tune. And I'm getting a message from your guides to like focus on all of the positives of these shifts that have taken place within you, instead of feeling like you're fixating on maybe what you sense that you've lost or what you're leaving behind or what's changed, because I'm hearing what you've gained is so much greater. And I'm hearing something about someone who's gained freedom, like someone who's gained their own freedom in some kind of situation, and how that is the most valuable thing that you've attained. I don't know if it was like freedom from a family system or belief system, just generally in your life, but I feel that you've never been as free as you are now. And moving forward, you're going to be creating from that energy of freedom. And that is such a powerful thing. I feel with Journey in the reverse position, someone's twin flame or soulmate here has been on a very long journey, most likely spiritually or metaphorically, but this also could be signaling the end of some kind of literal physical separation. I'm seeing someone returning home. Oh, I'm getting so many chills as I'm channeling into this. I'm seeing someone returning home from a journey, and I'm seeing two people just embracing because they missed each other. But the thing I'm getting in this vision is that this is you reuniting with the higher self of this twin flame or soulmate who had been showing up for a while in their lower self form. So, them going on the journey may have not been them literally leaving for a trip or even like walking away fully. It could have been them acting as this more wounded version of themselves. But now it's like their true self is returning. And I see the two of you embracing. It's like you've been waiting for this moment of feeling like you're actually communicating with the true self of this twin flame or of this soulmate. And I see this like embracing, this coming together between the two of you as essentially like they return back home to themselves, and this allows you to reunite. But the only way that they're returning back to themselves is because they are going through this heart healing. I'm also hearing that if you randomly started feeling a lot of heaviness out of nowhere, especially around your heart chakra, I know that personally, I randomly today was hit with this like wave of anxiety. And it was so strange because it came completely out of nowhere and just in the middle of the day. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I want you to know that if you have felt this way, you are not alone in what you are feeling. And what the world labels as anxiety and what you sometimes may even judge within yourself as anxiety or anxious tendencies is actually a spiritual gift in action, in a sense. It's your ability to be so sensitive and perceptive to energy. And it's actually a really beautiful thing. You are most likely someone who's a creator or like a natural artist or someone who has this very powerful ability to transmit their energy and frequency into things, whether it's art or music or just your conversations with others, whatever this is. And the reason you are such a powerful transmitter of energy is because you're also very open and susceptible to receiving energy. So you see what I mean? It's almost like you don't have the same walls that most people have to energy, which works both ways. Yes, you can be more impacted by heavy energies around you, and this can create sensations like anxiety, but equally, you can also transmit your energy in a more powerful way. Yeah, I'm reading through some of your comments and I'm seeing that some of you have experienced some of the same things. And I just want you to know that you are not alone in that. There's definitely something collective going on here as well. And because you're very empathic, you're picking up on all of that. But know that whenever you're feeling it, you're also transmuting it, you're shifting it, not just for yourself, but for the planet as well. And what I'm getting specifically with this twin flame or soulmate is part of the emotions that you may be feeling around the heart chakra are actually coming from them because when it comes to these very close soul connections, but especially with twin flames who share the same core soul frequency, when one of them is going through something that's very heavy on the heart space, they aren't just processing that energy in their own energetic field. The other counterpart is actually feeling and processing it in their own heart chakra as well, especially with twin flames, because there's this sort of sharing of energy centers in a way, the chakra system. And so sometimes, especially in twin flame scenarios, one twin will energetically process some of what the other is going through, even if they are physically apart, even if they're not in communication. They often can feel in the heart chakra the heaviness of what the other is feeling or what the other is going through. And they actually will feel it even more strongly when the other is trying to not deal with it or trying to bypass it. So, in your case, if you're feeling a lot of these emotions and you feel it's connected to this twin flame or soulmate, they may be unable to process, or there are certain things that they're having difficulty processing emotionally or even trying to bypass. And you could be feeling some of that within yourself as well. Yeah, someone said, I know you're going to say before you say it. That is exactly what I was talking about earlier with the psychic connectedness that we all have with each other, except it translates even to these conversations that we have here and these readings and the live chats. Because just like in our real waking lives, here virtually as part of this community, we have those connections. So just like I said, that you're going to notice more of your communication with people in your life becoming more telepathic, more energetically based. Even within these readings, you may notice moments where it's like moments of deja vu. I heard someone mention that in a previous reading, or feeling like you know what I'm going to say before I say it, because we're not just having these conversations here on this virtual platform. In a way, we're also connecting on a higher plane. We're having these conversations and interactions in the quantum realm as well. And so there's an energy exchange that's taking place on a higher level. So that is part of why you may feel like you kind of know what I'm going to say before I say it, because we're all like connected and co-creating in a way as well. Someone said I asked for this earlier and here we are. Yeah, some of you really must have manifested this, because if you would have asked me this morning or when I was feeling a bit more anxiety, if I was going to come on with a live stream, I would have said absolutely not. But there was something in the energy tonight where I just knew I needed to come on and share some messages. So I'm going to pull a Rumi Oracle card here because I have my mini Rumi deck. I don't want to stay on for too long tonight. I know I get into these lives and I love to just keep going. I could just do these for like hours, but I do want to kind of take some time to myself to process and integrate some of this energy as well. And I hope that you carve out the time for yourself to do the same, because there's definitely a lot going on. So, yeah, let's get a Rumi card. Okay. So the Rumi card to come out here is Passion of the Wild Red Mother. Here is your invitation to lay aside despair, to put aside doubt in the capacity of the human heart, even your frustration and impatience. It's time to quit whipping yourself and others, no matter how noble the intention behind the whip may be, and start dancing instead. Here is your big cosmic yes. So, I really hope that this little live stream has been helpful for some of you. I hope that at the very least it made you feel less alone today. Regardless of what you're going through, I am sending you so much love here and now in this live stream. And I hope that you know how loved and how supported you are, not just here on this channel, but by your guides, your ancestors, your whole spirit team, the universe, the divine. You are so protected and cared for, and you are on exactly the right path. You are precisely where you need to be. So, again, I'm sending you huge love and virtual hugs. And I hope you take care of yourself and have a good night. And I will connect with you here again in the next video.